These modern horror movies based on our favorite franchises, I eat them up every single time. We've got Evil Dead Burn, loved it, my favorite one. We had The Conjuring, I think, what was it, last year, the year before, the new one. Ate that up, my favorite one in that franchise. And now we have Insidious Out of the Further, my favorite one, scariest one out of the franchise. So obviously we're talking about Insidious Out of the Further, the new Insidious film in the Insidious franchise. And it's a different take on the Insidious franchise. It's a new family that we're focusing on, and it does a really good job at being an Insidious film. Let's start with two things. Obviously, not my setup. I was kicked out of my setup because my girlfriend's playing MW4 in there. I'm sure I'll go and join her after this. I'm having a great time on the beta. But yeah, if you guys don't know who I am Ant. I am your casual movie reviewer. I do your casual movie reviews. I go in with an open mind. I come out with an open mind. And I give you my casual, average fan experience. So going into Insidious Out of the Further, I went in with pretty mid expectations. And I went out with... They exceeded my expectations, at the same time kind of met my expectations. It's nothing we haven't seen before, but it also does some really creepy things. It builds a creepy atmosphere, has a solid story, but it does suffer from that Insidious-esque story where it's a very similar story to the movies we've seen before, where, you know, there's something that wants to get out and the whole movie is about keeping it in the further. So it's something that we've seen before, but it still builds a good story around that, with a creepy atmosphere and some very, honestly, terrifying jump scares. So if you don't know what Insidious Out of the Further is about, it's about Gemma, a young mother who is living in the house she grew up in, discovers she can travel into the further, where she possesses an ability to bring what lives there back to the real world. So if you like horror movies, you like Insidious movies, and you want to be freaked out and you kind of miss this franchise, this movie is for you. It is very, like I said, it's a very creepy atmosphere, very scary movie. It does some really good jump scares, and I feel like even when there's some solid jump scares, they don't get me like this. This one does something very innovative with jump scares. It takes some of our favorite things that get us with jump scares and does something interesting with them. So this one actually creeped me the freak out. I did see a lot of the reviews for this movie were like, oh, we've seen all the jump scares in the trailers. I've been doing a thing where like I only watch the trailers at the theater. I don't go and look for trailers online anymore. And that's just simply because if I do that, I feel like that does happen a lot where they showed a lot of the stuff in the trailer. So I've been trying to avoid that lately, and I feel like that's why I got a little bit more benefit out of this rather than going in and seeing all the jump scares. So let's talk about the pros. Pros. Acting is great. All the actors across the board are great. They did a solid job portraying genuine fear, some very creepy, like, kind of sleepwalking elements to it, or like losing time, going insane elements. So that's very, very good. Along with the child actor does very good at showing like a very like childlike character while also giving into that real fear when things get real in this movie. The movie looks great, and I've seen it in Dolby, so it looks really good. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because I finally wore my glasses at a theater, because I don't normally wear my glasses. The movie looks good, like really, really good. And it might just be because I was wearing my glasses and I can see a little bit more clear. I don't know. But it looks very, like the colors pop in this movie. And I do genuinely like it is a dark movie, but at the same time, those dark colors still pop pretty well. So let's talk about the cons. Honestly, not a lot of cons. The only con I can think of is it does suffer from that genuinely Insidious story where it's the same thing that we've seen. They just do something a little bit better than it. And honestly, I won't even say that the movie's too long. The movie does something really good where it, just when it feels like it's getting old, they get out really fast. And I think that's really good. I think that genuinely adds to the fun of this film, because the second it starts to realize, oh yeah, we're drawing this out a little bit, let's clean this up. They clean it up very well, and it ends very well, and I think that's perfect. So honestly, the only con is just we've seen this type of story in all of the previous Insidious movies. And honestly, I think the cast has fun. We have Elise back in this movie, and I think she's killing it doing these movies. She loves doing these movies, obviously. And we've got all these new characters that finally get to add their own spin, their own take on Insidious. So I think they all get to bring some kind of new light to the Insidious franchise, and I think that's always good. So let's talk about the standout moment of the film. The standout moment of the film is usually the film that takes us to a way crazier place, either story-wise or just action-wise. And I honestly think the standout moment of this film was in the pillow fort scene where it's very enclosed. She's like trapped in the pillow fort, because that is when we get some of our scarier jump scares. I mean, you're being they do some of our favorite horror element things. You're being followed. You've got things peeking at you around corners. You've got a confined space. It does everything in one area and does it well. And I think that really brings some very interesting aspects to this movie. Not only that, this is like one of the beginning scenes, and you can just see from this scene alone, oh yeah, this is going to be terrifying. So let's talk about Ant's 3 big questions. Would I watch it again? Would I recommend it? And is it going to be better on streaming or in theaters? Would I watch it again? I probably would watch this again. It was genuinely terrifying. I like the Insidious franchise. This is actually one that you can pull out of the Insidious franchise and not have to know all the lore and things like that. It's a very good standalone film, which I think is very nice and brings it to an ease to watch it again if I wanted to. Would I recommend it? Absolutely. If you enjoy horror, this is a good one. It's getting some good reviews, so you know it's doing pretty well. Like I said, the only bad reviews it's getting is just that it's something that we've kind of seen before, and the jump scares were all in the trailers. I avoid the trailers, so that didn't really affect me. And it does bring a lot of fun. So if you enjoy that stuff, I'll recommend this to people who love horror movies. And I'm definitely going to do some word of mouth around to friends and family about this movie. Now, is it going to be better on streaming or in theaters? I love watching films on the big screen at the theater. I think that is something that I always recommend. I say that in almost all my videos. If you can go see it in theaters, you should go and see it in theaters. And honestly, you should go see this in theaters. It looks great on the big screen. But at the same time, it is just another Insidious movie. I think this one is one of those movies where you can watch it in theaters or in streaming. And I don't normally do that where you get a benefit from watching it at both. But I think this is a movie you can genuinely get some benefit watching it either way, either with family or friends at the theater or at home. Either way, I think this is a good movie to check out. So with that being said, I gave this film a 4-star review because it is one of the best, if not the best, Insidious films in the entire franchise. A lot of those movies are kind of boring and drag for too long. So I think this one does really, really well at building a good story, building some terrifying elements, and then getting out before it gets too boring. And it just couldn't get that 5 stars just because it does do a lot of those famous Insidious things that we've seen before, and it does kind of use the same monsters that we've seen before. It introduces some new creatures and demons and things like that, but we also do see a lot of those same ones as well. So with that being said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this movie. Let me know how you thought about Insidious out of the further, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.